Have you ever truly trusted someone only to be betrayed? Have you felt surrounded by people but utterly alone inside? It's curious how, in the most challenging times, those who swore to be by your side simply vanish, turn their backs, or fall silent. In these moments, the truth reveals itself, cold and sharp. Machiavelli, with brutal clarity, gave us an observation that, though painful, is undeniably insightful. Nothing is forgotten so soon as death, when the gold still weighs in the balance. This phrase, devoid of anger or contempt, uncovers a profound understanding of human nature. In the real world, what we call friendship can often be just a well-crafted facade, and trust a shortcut to being wounded. We grow up immersed in the illusion that being good, just, and loyal will bring us rewards. We believe honesty will lead us to the top, where we'll be met with applause and embraces. However, life in its essence doesn't work that way. It's subtle and treacherous, like a hidden blade in the dark. This isn't pessimism, it's a matured perspective. Machiavelli didn't write to comfort us, but to confront us, to pull us from the cradle of naivety and show us that to survive, we must learn to see people as they truly are, not as we'd like them to be. That's why his words, centuries later, still resonate with a deeper truth than many modern ideas. Deep down, we already knew this, but refused to accept it. Machiavelli's reflections traverse time like a persistent echo, a whisper that manifests itself between false handshakes and embraces that carry a bitter taste. How many times have we witnessed this? The friendship that seemed unshakable crumbles. The partnership in which we placed our loyalty turns against us. The trust given with closed eyes transforms into a weapon in the hands of those who smile while striking us down. The world, to some extent, is a stage. The most convincing actors, the shrewdest and most dangerous, aren't on screens or conventional stages. They're in our daily lives, in work meetings, family lunches, backstage where deals are sealed, and in groups that, while smiling, silently assess what more they can extract from us before discarding us as useless. This perception isn't mere theory. It's a relentless reflection that, if we're honest, we'd prefer to ignore. It exposes a reality we spend our lives trying to hide, that we too have acted like the wolf in sheep's clothing, wearing masks. And perhaps that's why, deep down, we recognize that absolute trust is rare. However, this isn't a call to cynicism. It's an invitation to open our eyes, to understand that in this scenario, if you don't master the rules of the game, you'll end up being manipulated. Here, even affection can be transactional, and tenderness, bait. To ignore this is to remain in the position of prey, never the hunter. Yes, this truth can be harsh and uncomfortable, but the real truth is rarely pleasant. From an early age, we're conditioned to believe that friendship is magical, that good prevails, and that loyalty is a safe harbor. Yet the real world is complex, where promises break, alliances are transient, and every affection can have a hidden price. Machiavelli in The Prince doesn't express pessimism, but the courage to unveil the complexities of human interactions. For him, friendship isn't an intrinsic value, but a tool, useful as long as it serves a purpose. After that, it becomes expendable. As he himself said, it is necessary to know how to dissimulate. But what to dissimulate? Affection itself, the smile, the handshake. Why then do we continue to cling to this belief? Because it's painful to admit vulnerability. Accepting this reality means recognizing that the next stab could come from someone smiling next to us right now. The illusion of friendship is a kind of emotional anesthesia, a comfort that makes us forget that the world is a battlefield, where the us against the world lasts only until interests clash. When that happens, you either wake up or become another disposable piece on the board of the naive. Machiavelli would warn us, this idea of us is a comforting fantasy. In the arena of power, there are only you and the others. And the others often smile while hiding their true intentions. Just observe what happens in various circles, business, influential friendships, behind the scenes of major events, and even in family relationships. As long as you are useful, you are celebrated, praised, put on a pedestal. But when you start to be perceived as a threat, a burden, or simply an obstacle, the cut is swift, silent, and unexpected. It's not personal, it's the cruel logic of the game. Betrayal, when it occurs, feels personal because we invest our hearts where often there was only self-interest. We confuse convenience with affection, and we believe that words spoken amidst smiles and toasts had the weight of eternity. We forget that Machiavelli already cautioned, men offend less him who they love than him who they fear. If they don't fear you, sooner or later they will betray you. If they don't respect you as a force, they will see you as an easy victim. On this board, whoever starts as an ally can end up as an obstacle. In the real world, friendship and power are elements of the same drama, and roles reverse with frightening speed. Today, you are acclaimed. Tomorrow, the target. The day after tomorrow, the forgotten. Think of athletes who were cheered and then cancelled for a misstep, of celebrities who were treated like gods and then became public jokes. Where were the friends, the defenders? They vanished like smoke in the wind, because that friendship was rented, and contracts break when the property stops generating profit. It's a bitter truth, but a liberating one. When you understand that no one owes you eternal loyalty, you stop suffering from disappointments that, in a way, were already written. And more importantly, you begin to see people as they truly are, players in a complex scenario, not necessarily soulmates. It's not about becoming a cold sociopath or living in constant paranoia. It's about maturing, about understanding that in the game of power, and power manifests itself in all relationships, including emotional ones, friendship is, above all, a tool. And, like any tool, if you don't know how to use it, you will be used. Machiavelli didn't want you to become a tyrant. He wanted you to wake up. And waking up, in this context, means having the acuity to perceive that the warmest hug can hide the sharpest blade. Loyalty sworn in public can turn into silent resentment the next moment. He who applauds you today may stone you tomorrow, not because you changed, but because you stopped being useful. So, instead of asking, "Who is on my side?" ask, "Who would still be here if I were no longer useful?" On the chessboard of power, friendship is a valuable piece, but also an unstable one. Using it is necessary. Trusting it blindly is a risk. Machiavelli would say, use it, but never trust it. Now that the curtain of illusion has risen, you are ready to see what truly exists behind the smiles. The betrayer does not appear with obvious signs of malice. He approaches softly, with a warm smile, a comforting embrace, words that sound like music on a stormy night. He promises loyalty, swears to walk by your side, and for a while, perhaps he even believes it. But the rules of the game change, and when they change, the smile changes too. The blade doesn't just appear, it was always there, hidden behind sweet words, waiting for the right moment to be used. Machiavelli did not view betrayal as a tragedy, but as an inevitable element. In the battlefield of power, betraying is not necessarily a sign of moral corruption, but a movement of self-preservation. One must be cunning to identify traps and resilient to avoid being a target. To be merely good is to be vulnerable. To be just is to expose oneself. Those who wish to survive must learn to discern falsehood in the air before it materializes into danger. Most betrayals do not occur explosively. They manifest as a subtle poison. They begin with compliments that hide ulterior motives, small absences in times of need, decisions made behind your back while they still smile at you. By the time you realize it, you've already been displaced from your own space by someone who claimed to be your pillar. Behind the scenes of power, everything communicates, even silence. And the language of the betrayer is always ambiguous. He never exposes his true intentions. He insinuates, manipulates, and, if necessary, plays the victim. He will make you feel guilty for doubting, while secretly undermining your position, using your words, your gestures, your secrets. The smile is his mask, and your trust, the fertile ground for the blow. Remember Julius Caesar, acclaimed and adored, yet stabbed in the heart of the Senate, not by declared enemies, but by the men he trusted most, those he called brothers. The most painful blow doesn't come from the adversary, but from someone you considered an extension of yourself. In the real world, betrayal is rarely motivated by pure malice. It's driven by something far more prosaic: self-interest. When interests change, loyalties melt like ice in the sun. When protecting you becomes more costly than abandoning you, you are left to fend for yourself without drama or discourse. And if you still haven't grasped this, you'll continue to be caught by surprise, lamenting friends who simply followed the natural script of the game. They were never yours. They were with you as long as it was convenient. Machiavelli wouldn't ask, "Why did they betray me?" He would ask, "Why did I let them get so close?" It's a harsh truth, but an essential one. As long as you insist on seeing the world with naive eyes, expecting eternal loyalties, the world will continue to turn on cold adult gears, where every bond has a price, where every smile can hide an agreement, and where every gesture of affection can be just the beginning of a negotiation that could cost you your position. The game is relentless. Betrayal is not an exception. It's the silent rule that few dare to admit. And those who survive are not those who ignore the dangers, but those who see them and still remain resilient. You need to understand, the world won't change because you are loyal. People won't protect you because you are good. And promises won't hold just because they were made with emotion. True power arises when you stop expecting purity in a world that thrives on self-interest. When you stop demanding fidelity from those who always saw you as a means. When you recognize that the only eternal loyalty is the one you build with yourself. It's not about isolating yourself from the world, but about fully opening your eyes. To be capable of smiling, perhaps of trusting, but always of understanding. The warmest hug can hide the sharpest blade. In the end, Machiavelli just wanted you to know, it's not who loves you that protects you, it's who fears you. Now, the choice is yours. Continue playing as a fragile pawn, or awaken as a shrewd strategist who sees beyond appearances and is never again caught off guard. Because on this chessboard called life, naivety costs dearly, and awareness is your only true crown. And if today I can share all this with such clarity, it's because I too was once a pawn. I played others' games. I confused applause with loyalty. One day, I decided to stop following others' scripts and started playing my own game.